Just wanted to start here. Do you believe Emmanuel Sanders is capable of diversifying what is already an elite passing game here in Buffalo?
Yeah, I think we're all excited to have Emmanuel. He's, he provides great veteran presence. He's flexible in terms of being able to play inside and outside. He's had a lot of experience. He's played on a lot of different teams and a lot of different systems. Skill set that we like, and we'll put him in the mix. He's a smart guy. Has been around for a while, so it's been good to get to meet him and build a relationship with him, and kind of throw him into the fire, so to speak.
And I know real quick, a lot of your younger players, you like to kind of put them in one spot first, master that, and then start moving them around. Is he got the veteran savvy where you can just kind of throw him right in and just line him up just about anywhere after maybe a couple of weeks because he's seen just about everything?
Yeah, I think that depends on the player, Chris. I think just getting to know Emmanuel these last months, he's got a really good football mind. He's an instinctive player. We'll give him as much as he can handle, which to this point he's been able to handle all the different spots that we put him in. We just don't like our receivers, just like our linemen, just to know one spot, and that's all. I think it's important that they understand everyone's position. There's 5 eligibles on every play, and anyone can be at any spot. So again, I think his experience will serve him well, and we'll just take it day by day in terms of the installation and the things we're asking him to do and learn. And we add more, we'll add more. If we need to slow down, we need to slow down. But he's been really good in the meetings.
Good enough. Thanks, Coach.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, Dave, good to see you.
Hey, Johnny, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good.
After evaluating, Josh's great season a year ago, when you guys left after the season and you kind of discussed the next step for him, obviously he can improve everywhere, but were there
Sure.
specific areas that you guys pinpointed that you said, all right, let's try to work on this, between the gap where we reconvene here for OTAs?
Yeah, I think Josh has a good off-season plan in terms of the things that he's done since he's been here. Again, specifically, nothing specific. I mean, we talked a little bit about some in-breaking routes and things like that, but he's always working on, it's like a golf swing, right? Like his mechanics, his follow-through, his base, his movement in the pocket. He does those things, I would say, religiously throughout the offseason, and we get him back here. Him along with all the other quarterbacks and Ken and Shea are working on those things. Each year he's obviously learned a little bit more about the system. We've tried to tailor the system specifically to him. We add things, we take things out. I think that, we got a lot of good give and take between the two of us in terms of things he feels comfortable with and maybe things we can do a better job of. He's a consummate pro in terms of, he's never satisfied with, and none of us really are never satisfied with what you did the previous year. Because, you wish you could bottle it up and just, throw it out there the next week and it's all the same, but in reality, it's not. We have, he knows this, almost 15 new guys on offense. It's not just the talent and all those things, guys. It's, how can we develop relationships with the people that we're working with on those? That's important because you're going to hit some tough times here and there. And he's such a good leader in that regard. So he's a consummate pro, John, in terms of the things each year that he tries to work on.
Obviously, we asked you a lot about the running game, especially as the season went along. After you had a chance to look at things fully, what did you come away with as to maybe why that wasn't as effective as you would have probably hoped?
Yeah, I mean, there's yards and then there's efficiency and there's all these numbers you can look at. It's the same thing in the pass game, like, where you rank in the pass game versus where you rank in the run game. Like, we're not really concerned with that, to be honest with you. What we're concerned with is, the things that we do install and the things that we ask the players to do. Are we doing that the proper way? And then are we going out there and executing it the proper way? And it's, whether it's the run game, John, or whether it's third and long or, red zone, you can look at rankings and all these stats and things like that. But ultimately it comes down to, putting the players in the best position we can put them in with a good plan, and then them going out there and executing it. And there were a lot of good runs, and there were some runs that weren't as good as we'd like them to be. And you can really look at the pass game and say the same thing. You're always trying to be better. You want to be the best offense you can be. And, whether you rank one higher in one area and one in the other, like at the end of the day, you guys know we're going to try to do whatever we need to do to win a football game. And that's really all that really matters to us. But a lot of work's been done on that. It's just like it's been done on every area. That's what you do, right? Every offseason I've been part of the National Football League. That's what you do for those first couple months, is kind of really be honest with yourself and look at through, things very specifically, and break down in little groups and come together and have good communication process with the coaching staff and just try to make it better. And, I think we're on our 8th OTA here. So we've had a good productive spring. We need to go out there and have another good day and improve really in every spot. All we're trying to do is stack them together and have some good days here to, lay a foundation for leading into training camp.
Thanks, Dave.
You got it. Thank you.
Hey, Dave, it's good to see you.
Hey, Dan, how are you?
Good.
Good.
Second year doing head coaching interviews. I don't think we've talked to you since the end of the season. What did you learn about yourself, maybe this time around, going through the process again?
Yeah, I respect the question. All I'd say is this: I'm very appreciative for the organizations that gave me an opportunity to sit down and meet some new people in this league. Everybody has a goal of what they'd like to achieve, in the National Football League. And, I'm so focused now on, and this year, it seems so long ago, I am grateful. I am appreciative. And I wish both of those organizations well, but I'm just so grateful for the opportunity that I've, been allowed to stay here from Terry and Kim and Sean and Brandon and work with the people here. It's just obviously a great place to be.
I respect that. And you talk about moving forward and looking ahead. How do you manage expectations offensively? Franchise record in points, the 30-point games, Josh's numbers.
Yeah.
You talk about, trying to move on and forget things. How do you manage that expectations this season?
You try to turn the page as fast as you can, Dan. And I think we do a good job here. That starts with the leadership group and Brandon and Sean. And we try to follow suit with the players and the assistant coaches. It's kind of a what have you done for me lately league. You all know that. So you can't really get caught up on whether it was a season that you wish you did better, a season that you did well. Really none of that matters. Like I said before, you wish you could bottle up some of the things that you did and just say, boy, to just put it out there and do. But the reality of it is it's not the same team. Do we have certain players that are the same? Absolutely. Cole and Steph and Josh and Mitch and Felicia, there's a lot of the same guys, but there's also 15 new people. So when you put everybody together in a room, you don't know how everybody's going to react when, things aren't great. You don't have a great practice, you miss a pass. You have to build those relationships, because that's, at the end of the day, that's the business. We're in a relationship business, and figuring out how guys work and, do they respond better to, tougher criticism, less, how they work together. You got to gel as a team. And this is the start of what we're trying to do, is just trying to gel as a group more than anything.
Thanks. I appreciate the insight.
Yeah, you too, Dan. Appreciate you.
Hey, Brian, good to see you. Thanks for doing this.
You're welcome. Hi, Heather.
Hey, just want to ask about the offensive line and the fact that
Sure.
Brandon was able to bring back so many guys, Daryl and John. How important is that to have that consistency? And, with Cody coming back too from his injury, how important is that continuity going into this season?
Yeah, I always think, look, I've said this before when you guys have asked, and, playing well is the biggest thing. But continuity does help, because you can have, something come up that happened, a year and a half ago in a particular game where you made an adjustment, or you have a different call where you can draw from those experiences. It's the same with a coaching staff that's been together for a while. It's different than it was in the first year or the second year when you're just getting together. So I think that the communication, that's really the most important thing, Heather. I think the communication, from the continuity helps. You're talking particularly with those guys, you got to act as one. You got 5 guys having to act as one. There's things and different fronts and stems and different communications that go on. And the more continuity you have, the longer you have been together, it's a little bit more comforting than when you're just starting out. But again, at the end of the day, it's the 5 guys that are playing the best, that work the best together, that are going to give us a chance to be successful.
And then what do you make of what Tommy Swinney had to go through last year and just his recovery? And what have you seen from him so far after going through everything he had to go through?
Sure. Good question. Resilient. He's a resilient guy, with his COVID situation, but outside, he just has a good mindset. He's mentally tough. He's done a good job thus far in these OTAs. He's getting his feet back underneath him, like really everybody has. We haven't played a game since January or whatever it was. But he's a smart, for a young guy, like it's almost like he's a rookie all over again. He's not, but he missed a whole year, and so he's getting his feet back underneath him. But he has the right mindset. He's a smart, tough, dependable guy that will work hard and give you everything he has, and he'll put his best forward come training camp time.
Awesome. Thanks, Brian. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Yep.
Hi, Brian.
Hey, Vic. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
Good. Brian, I want to go back to the question you asked earlier about the run game. And the point you made about, we can look at all those stats and the stats within the stats and make whatever we want to make and give them whatever weight we want to give them. In light of how this offense functioned last year, how dynamic the passing game was, how successful it was in helping you get to where as far as you got, can you help quantify just how important it is to run the ball and to the degree that those numbers are also like in the higher reaches of the league?
Yeah, Vic, I don't, that's a tough question to answer. I mean, if that week we need to run the ball to win, it's really important. Just like if we need to throw the ball to win, it's really important. There's a lot of different ways to win a game. You'd like to be, first in the league in pass and first in the league in run, first in the league in total offense and first in the league in points. That rarely happens. There's, a team that won the Super Bowl was second in the league in pass and 28th in rush. Like, to me, stats really don't matter. What matters is being effective at the things you're asked to do when we need to do them. So if that's to run the ball, it's to run the ball. If it's to pass it, it's to pass it. 50-50. I mean, those days really, like, everybody talks about balance. Balance is good if you win. It's not very good if you lose. Our philosophy is always going to be do what we need to do to try to win a football game. If that means throw it 30 times in a row, that means throw it 30 times in a row. If it means run it 30 times, it means run it. We don't have specific numbers, Vic. We just try to go out there and do the best we can with the things that we think we need to do for that week. And again, I'll just go back. We look at everything as a coaching staff in February and March, and those times when the players are off. And we study ourselves, we study other teams, we add new concepts, we tweak, old concepts, and maybe we take out some stuff that we didn't like. And then, that's a process as it goes into really training camp, more so with the running game and seeing how effective those are. And even the first few weeks of the season, you really don't know exactly, what you are until you get going there. And, we're going to constantly try to improve really in every area, run game included.
And Brian, as great a season, obviously, as Stefon Diggs had in his first year with the team, how challenging do you see it for him to be, for an encore? Like, what kind of follow-up season, knowing, obviously, as you just mentioned, the studying that's being done of how, especially people can look at him from Minnesota, but they're going to look at exactly how you used him. And I know it's not just him. I know Josh has a lot to do with this as well as you and others around him. But what's your sense of how effective you think he can be in year two with the Bills?
Well, he's got the right mindset that we covet here for players that we bring in. Just like I talked about, not bottling it up. I know that he feels the same way. Not to speak for Steph, he's a grinder, he's a worker. he's out there and he is busting his hump to try to improve at his craft. And really, again, what we did last, like, we're just trying to live in the moment here, Vic, and be as good as we can be each day here, and not to look too far ahead, and make sure that our chemistry is right between the quarterback and the receivers that we have and the tight ends. And we do a lot of work out there and individual routes and fundamentals and technique. This is a teaching camp, really. There's obviously no contact, but Diggs is he's got that dog mentality. He don't look what he did in the past year. He's just looking to get better this year, and try to live up to his own expectations. And that's all that we can ask of any of the players or the coaches is, we have expectations and standards here that we set within our walls, and that's what we're going to try to achieve. Anything outside of that, that's up for everybody else to look at. So having the right mindset, being gritty, being competitive, being humble about where we're at and what we need to do. But we have a long, long way to go before we start playing real games, and a lot of work that needs to be done and a lot of improvement in a lot of areas to try to keep on climbing. And that's our goal.
Brian, thank you, and have a great summer.
You too, Vic. Hit them good.
Hey, Brian, good to see you.
Hey, Matt. Are you parked or are you driving?
I'm parked. Okay. Every once in a while, I'll get a little risky, but not today. So Jacob Hollister, interested to know your initial impressions of him. And also, it's been a few years, but I'm wondering if there's anything to, the experience that him and Josh have together and what that will mean at this stage, just having that comfort level with a player.
Yeah, Jacob has been, thus far in the Zoom meetings or the OTAs, he's really been a good addition to the tight end room. I would say he's an instinctive player in the pass game. We don't have, obviously you guys know this, and I'll say this only one time, the pads and all that other stuff, but what we're allowed to do and what we're doing right now, he's been very, very good for us. I think he's got good insight. He's played a few years with a couple different systems. He's picked up our system really well. I think he's done a good job in terms of being, having some leadership in the room. And, there is some chemistry and continuity between Josh and him now. Like, again, it was, albeit a few years ago, but, you're able to read a body language, that you've been used to before. So, that part of it, if you guys can remember, like when we were working with Cole and Josh, and we were putting in a lot of different things, a couple training camps ago, like that takes a little time to read the body language and the head turn and the movements and the breaks and the indicators. Jacob's done a fine job since he's been here. I'm glad we signed him.
And another story that I think is awesome, Christian Wade. You've been a part of it since he got here and watched the development. Where is he at? And kind of a separate part of it is how excited it is for a lot of these, practice squad players that are, looking like they're going to get a chance to show everybody what they can do in the preseason this year.
Sure. Yeah, I think that's great for everybody. That's why, helps the entire league. Christian's been a very steady guy since he's been here. Obviously, you guys know him. His personality is great. He's had a lot to learn, and he's come a long way. So he'll have opportunities out here in the summer when we get to training camp, and he's gonna be asked to make the most of them. But just a great teammate, relatively raw to the sport and the things that we've been asking him to do, and he's made steady progress since he's been here, and he'll have an opportunity to do that in training camp.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you.
Good. Hey, Brian, Adam Benini, how are you?
Hey, Adam. How's it going?
Good, man. I wanted to get back to Josh, and you had talked about how, a lot of kind of his DNA, his work ethic, his approach to things is the same, never satisfied. I like the golf swing analogy. It kind of applies to a lot of things, right? But I would ask you, coming off the year he had and that additional experience and getting as far as you did, what have you noticed, at least at this point, that's different about him? Maybe a maturation or some aspect that he's bringing with all that experience now into this season that maybe you
Yeah,
had?
well, yeah, that's a good question. I mean, each year you grow in the system, and I value his input and the things that, you know, he feels really comfortable with. But, you know, Adam, he is really the same guy every day since he's been here. He's got an underdog mentality. You know, he's a grinder. He's never satisfied. He loves to practice. He's competitive in the meeting rooms. His leadership skills are outstanding. He's not relying on what happened the year before or anything like that. That's what I appreciate about him too, is, you know, he's turned the page really quick. Again, the ultimate goal is there's only one team at the end of the year that's going to be happy. And if you're happy because you made it to a certain point but didn't make it to that point, then we're all in the wrong business. Again, not even talking about that, but like, we're so far away from thinking about that or anything. He just comes in, you start over, you know, you reinstall things, you tweak things. He has, like, I'll give him input as to some of the stuff that he likes or didn't like. I mean, he's out there doing it. He's made steady progress, Adam, since he's just really the same guy since I went to see him with the rest of the group at Wyoming. That's what you appreciate about the young man, is he's humble. He's never satisfied. He's an underdog. That's kind of that's what happens when you're not recruited and all these type of things. That's just his mindset. I don't think that'll ever go away.
Thank you, Brian.
Yep. You got it.
Brian, John Worrell.
Hey, John. Whoa, haircut. How buddy?
I got them all cut.
There you go.
What the heck? You go once and, you know, you might as well pay the same price.
There you go. That's a good way to think about it.
You know, I mean, this is about just the offense in general. And
Sure.
I mean, I know it's a what have you done for me lately kind of league. But what are the inherent benefits that come with having a season this offense had last year entering, you know, going into the next year?
It's a good question. I want to try to give you a good answer to it. I don't like, it's so hard, John, to, again, I've mentioned it 3 times. It's just so hard to pick up. You know, you wish you were right there. The good thing about, you know, having some of the same guys, John, is like, we put a lot of stuff on our guys' plates. You know, we place I'd say a high premium on bringing in smart guys. And, you know, there are some guys that have been on our roster that, you know, are going to be on a roster like Steph or Diggs and Josh that are thrown with each other and have good chemistry. But you need to rebuild it. You need to, you know, you got to get out there on a range and keep swinging away. And that's where we're at, really. You know, there's some guys that we had that were on the practice squad, like someone alluded to with I think it was Matt, about the opportunity that those guys have and the excitement, whether that be, you know, Gentry or Duke. But you're really, you know, you're starting from scratch. You're not, because there's a foundation of things that you can remember that we did the year before. Like, look, you're not going to come from one year to the next and change a bunch, you know, the entire offense, but you're going to add, you know, you're going to add some things that you think will give you a chance to take a look at it. You're going to take some things out, and you're just kind of trying to rebuild the muscle memory. You're trying to rebuild the knowledge of the system, the signals, the audibles, the check with me's. You know, there's a lot that goes into it. And, you know, quite frankly, you know, you climb that mountain, and then you climb back down, and now you're climbing up another mountain. That's where you're at. You know, you can't, you know, start at the top of the mountain. We're at kind of at the base of it right now. And we got a lot of work that needs to be done. And, you know, that's what these camps are for. It's really been it's been a good past few weeks with the guys. We're trying to get stuff done and improve, and, you know, do situational football and work on our technique, on our routes. Really, that's where we're at, John. Like, to say we're like, it's going to lead us into that. Like, that's just, you wish it was the case, but it's not the case.
Is maybe trust level, is that where you might be ahead of the game because you're familiar with these guys?
Well, I think that each year you're able to remain with a team and have some consistency. Again, it just goes back to the communication process, you know, and the relationship process. Like, you know, it's, you got to have good relationships with, the players with the players. I'm not saying you got to be best friends and coaches with the coaches, but a mutual trust and a consistent level of, hey, here's what the expectation standards are. They know them. So like some of those meetings, you can go fairly quick with them rather than, 2 or 3 years ago. But, where that gets you on a Sunday afternoon at 1 o'clock, like, we got to put a lot of work and effort and detail into that to get to that point, which we're so far away from. We're just, we're going out there and practicing some situations today. We'll take care of that.
I know you're always worried about something, Brian, but thank you very much.
Yeah. Thanks, John.
Hey, Brian, Mike Catalana.
Hey, Mike, how are you?
Good to see you.
Good.
We talk a lot about continuity, but Sean mentioned one day it can be a negative in terms of communication and maybe same voices, same things. Yeah. Are you conscious of that? Do you believe that can be the case? And then what do you do about that when you have that trust in those guys, but you've heard their voice, they've heard your voice all the time?
Yeah, sometimes you find different ways to say the same thing. I've been a part of teams where I've been there for a long, long time with the same system, but you're trying to, as a coach and as a coaching staff, you're trying to grow and evolve each offseason. Whether that's talk to other coaches, whether it be at college or friends or colleagues or whoever it may be, you're researching things. I think having a relationship, Mike, and being able to have honest and direct communication is really important. It is valuable. At the same time, you're always trying to be creative and in your presentations and your process and things like that. Since it's not the same year and it's a different team, again, there's some things that you're always going to hold on to, that this is what we're going to say. This is how we're going to say it. This is the expectation. This is the standard. And then there's other things that, again, you're tweaking and keeping it fresh and keeping the guys energized and, having a little bit of fun with it at times.
Yeah. And on a different question, but with
Sure.
Trubisky being with you guys,
Yeah.
What's it been like for him, sort of under the radar after all the attention he had in the beginning of his career, and how's he been for you?
Yeah, I think that how it's been for him is probably a good question for him. He's been fantastic in the meeting room with the quarterbacks. He's a professional. He's been through a lot in his career, with 50 games. He's played a lot of football. This is a brand new system for him. We're excited to have him. He's been a really good addition, not just in the quarterback room, but I'd say on the offense and the team in general. He's got a good way about him. So again, you go from one team to the next and the terminology is all different. We're just trying to ask him right now to make sure he's got the things that he needs to have down, the playbook, the audibles. He's got a lot of, I'd say, freedom. He's got to learn how to use it the way he needs to use it. When he's playing, he's been really good. Happy to have him.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too.
Hey, Brian, it's Jay with the Buffalo News. How you doing?
Hey, Jay. Good. How are you?
Good, thank you. So you've had a year now with Devin and Zach working together.
Yep.
How do you feel like those two guys complemented each other last year, and how do you envision them doing that this year coming up?
Yeah, they did a good job. I mean, they're both two young players. I'd say they can play on all three downs for us. They understand what we're trying to get accomplished in the run game. They understand the protections. You have most of nowadays, you're going to have 2 or sometimes 3 backs playing for you. Some teams even have more than that. I think the good thing about those guys, Jay, is I feel confident that, their knowledge of what we're asking them to do and how they need to do it, not just in one area, not just, I'd say, in the runs, but in the protections and things like that. It's good when you can just leave them out there, whether it be for a series or 2 series, or maybe someone gets a hot hand and you don't have to, change and call different personnel groups and tag different numbers, because they have the ability to really play all 3 downs for you.
Yeah, I mean, I suspect I know your answer, but you don't, the idea of having a lead back, quote unquote, is not something that really matters much to you, is it?
No, I mean, it just means whoever's back there is playing good. And again, sometimes that happens, Jay, where you're in a game and you just get a sense one guy's got it going a little bit more than the other guy, and that's the guy you ride with a little bit. But in terms of what we ask those guys to do, what their approach has been, they're 2 good young backs, and it'll be a good competition come training camp. And I just say this, that Matt Breida has been a really good addition for us. He's done a great job since he's been here, much like I talked about Hollister. It's been a good acquisition for us up to this point, and we'll see when we start playing and things like that. But what we've asked him to do and how he's gone about his business and done it, he's been a pleasure to be around and been a good addition.
Thanks. And then just real quick, lastly, I wanted to ask you about Jake Fromm. He had about as weird of a rookie year as you could possibly have. Where do you see him? What did he take away from that rookie year? How has he applied it to the spring so far, and just, where he's at? Yeah,
a little bit unique, unique year for everyone, but particularly him with the things that we asked him to do as being the COVID quarterback. But Jake's really smart, Jay. He's, we talk about placing a high premium on bringing in intelligent players. He's really smart. So, some of the reps that he's missed, he's able to, I'd say, translate just watching the tape from far away and picking up on the coaching points and really being able to apply it without a lot of reps. He's had to learn to do that because he is very intelligent. He's out here competing with Davis and Mitch, and he's having a nice camp right now in terms of, the things we've asked him to do and throwing the football. So just a young player. He's kind of, again, almost like a rookie in a sense, just from what happened last year, but great attitude, good toughness about him, mental toughness about him. And he'll have an opportunity to show what he can do here come July.
Awesome. Thanks for your time, Brian.
Yeah, you too.